Since election day is here, might as well answer the question that everybody's had on their minds since the creation of the United States. Does our vote actually count? And I'm about to answer that question today in this video. But to understand if our vote actually counts in the elections, we gotta understand what the Electoral College is first. See this map on the screen? You might be thinking to yourself, well, why does each state have a different number on it? And that's because that's how many electoral votes the state has. And electoral votes are basically representatives and senators from each state. Each state gets one representative for every 500,000 people it has. So, for example, Minnesota has a total of around 5 million people. If you do the math, that equals to 8 representatives. Every single state, no matter how big or small, has 2 senators. So, if you do the math, 8 representatives plus 2 senators gives Minnesota an electoral vote count of 10. Still confused? Well, California is the most populated state in the country, and it has a total of around 38 million people. And so, doing the math, that gives California 52 representatives in Congress. And if you do the math again, 52 representatives plus 2 senators equals 54 electoral votes that California has. Still confused? At this point, you probably should be on the short bus, but jokes aside, copy and paste those 2 examples I just gave you, look up how many representatives each state has, add that number by 2, and that's how many electoral votes each state has. But now begs the question, in the part you guys have been waiting for, does our vote really count? Well, sort of. And what I mean by that is, for an example, let's say if Kamala Harris wins 51% of the popular vote in Minnesota, basically that means she wins all of Minnesota's 10 electoral votes. Confused? Well, let's move down south to Iowa, or for example, let's say if Trump wins 60% of the popular vote there, that basically means he gets all of Iowa's electoral votes. Still confused? Basically, all a candidate needs to do is win more than 50% of the popular vote in each state respectively, and they will win all the electoral votes for each state. But if you think it's all sunshine and rainbows, then you're wrong, because that's when the problems start to spawn in. The main problem Americans have with this electoral college is it gives power mostly to the states, not the people, which I personally agree with. Actually, awesome history. The entire purpose of the Electoral College is to give smaller states more voting power in the elections. While on paper that is true, in reality, it pretty much isn't. You see, in reality, the candidates aren't trying to get your vote, they're trying to get the state's vote. As I stated earlier, a presidential candidate needs at least more than 50% of the popular vote in the individual states, which in reality actually gives power to the state and not the people. So, long story short, to an extent, our vote does count in the presidential election. Thanks for watching my first long form essay type video, and make sure to subscribe because I will be making more of these in the near future. And until next time, adios, amigos.